women are so used to suppressing themselves, to shaping themselves to fit the husband or the man. It's like they lose their truth, their authenticity, just to be married, just to have this like social
for children.
status. Yeah, to have all the checks, society checks.
But are you perceiving yourself as worthy enough to have the life you're dreaming of? Or you feel like you're not good enough?
From the outside, everything seemed perfect, and even my ex-husband thought that everything was perfect. But it wasn't apparently. Yeah.
So it was not perfect for you.
Yeah.
If you remember dying and you're still here, then death doesn't exist.
But most people don't remember and don't know even how to remember.
So then they're afraid of the story they tell to themselves about that transition. Just watch Burning Bodies.
Sounds so much fun.
Because if you really cope with your fear of death and fear of pain, you're free.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Eternally Fantastic podcast. It's me, Lily, Boiko, and
Mira, Uniat.
And today we are going to speak about tears and pain. How important is it to feel your pain, not to avoid it, not to distract yourself by this? And I think especially for men, it's quite hard to do that. But even for me, for example, in my marriage, it wasn't allowed to cry because my ex-husband thought that, like, he felt like I'm blaming him when he saw my tears, for example, and that's why for me, even now, it's hard to cry with someone in the room because I don't feel comfortable. It feels like it is a burden for other person with me, though I'm just expressing emotions, and it's even sometimes doesn't have to do with the person, but because, and I think a lot of both boys and girls, even in the childhood, are ashamed to cry, especially boys, especially in our Slavic cultures, like men should be tough, and even boys when they're kids, and that's why it brings so much suppressing emotions, even when adults, even with women, and it's crucial to be able to feel your pain. So let's dive deeper in this, maybe in your practice. And now we even published videos on Instagram with both of us crying, and we can talk over the video call when private chat when we cry. And I even feel that when a person is capable of crying with me, I feel so much trust from that person that she can open up in front of me, and I will never judge or understand. Like, I think I would even laugh if a man would cry in front of me.
Why would you laugh? Or you would
love? Yeah, because he's vulnerable.
Yes.
And he trusts me. And
love is the right, not laugh, but love.
Love, yes. And I think it's even sexy when a man can cry. And even yesterday, by the way, we watched a podcast together where the guest cried in the podcast, and And I cried. I shed a tear as well. It was such an emotional moment. And yet, he was a man, right? And I think it was very attractive. And I mean, like a person, you feel this connection, the authenticity. So yeah, what do you think about it? Because I talked so much.
I think first and foremost, we have to understand that the biggest power that a human being can have is to be authentic, because that means that they are in touch with their authentic self, with their original design. And if people are constantly hiding or suppressing what they truly feel, they are building all these walls that separate them from the truth of existence. So the walls that separate them from themselves, eventually these walls will separate them from others. And then these walls will separate them from the universe overall, from nature, from everything. So they will see this big separation between who they are and between external world. And then the question is, how in that state are they supposed to feel love when they build these thick walls of separation, playing a character who never cries, playing a character who only experiences positive emotions? It doesn't work like that. On a human journey, in this physical existence, there are two polarities, two basic polarities, right? Minus and plus. It's a reality of duality. And I think the biggest power that we as human beings can have is to authentically feel and express what we truly carry within ourselves, not hiding it behind the mask of a strong woman or what is strength? I mean, we have to redefine strength, because for me, true strength is actually authenticity. And true strength is a person who is connected to truth within themselves and the truth of existence. And the truth of existence is that on the human journey, we come here to experience a myriad of different emotions, to experience a diverse existence of a human, to experience different colors of reality. And until we learn to experience the deepest pain instead of hiding or suppressing it, until we learn to let ourselves experience anger, let ourselves experience grief, let ourselves experience guilt, how are we supposed to experience true love or authentic love? It will be a made up thing of this persona that we created behind which we're hiding it all, right? So I think that true strength is in the level of authentic feeling that we can feel. And then next level of strength is when we realize that we create these feelings within ourselves, and we get committed to learning. We get committed to learn the mechanism of how these feelings are created. And then when we get committed to learning the process of how these feelings are created, that means we become conscious of who we are. We become conscious of our anger. We become conscious of our guilt, shame, you name it. Of love too, That means you're going to be present in every moment of your life, right? And then you will watch what feelings are you experiencing mostly. And instead of blaming others for the way you feel, you will disconnect for that time. You will listen to that narrative that makes you feel that way, or you will listen to your body that releases the chemistry that supports that emotion, and then based on which you create the narrative. And you start learning the process. And then you take responsibility for that feeling. And then you say, wow, I'd like to learn to transform that energy into something else through changing the narrative around this feeling. Because now I'm very curious about every aspect of who I am. I'm curious about my anger. I'm curious about my grief. I'm going to invite all of them on a date because now I see they do exist. I stop running away from them. I stop suppressing them. I stop hiding them. I'm going on a date with every human emotion because I'm on this amazing human journey to experience all aspects of what it means to be human.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's important to cry when you feel like crying. I think it's important to be angry when you feel like angry, but probably just when you're by yourself, not killing other people, right? I think it's important to experience anger and feel that emotion, learn the nature of anger. For me, to be honest, an authentically angry person is better than a fake loving person. I don't need anything fake. You better be angry and show that that frequency exists in you. That's the first step, right? And then I'll look at you with my loving eyes and I'll be a mirror of your own emotion. I won't fight with you. I actually appreciate you are expressing your authentic self instead of telling me that I'm fine.
Right. Yes, yes. And I think that people who don't allow themselves to express negative emotions also don't allow others
They
to
project
do.
it on others, yes.
Yeah,
100%.
yes. But why do you think, from where did it come that boys aren't allowed to cry? And is it just in like Eastern European countries from where we are from, Ukraine, or how do you feel like is there a difference in the Western world?
I think it's coming from a very distorted understanding of what strength is, right? Because historically, strength has been perceived as physical power, as a bigger body, more muscular body, the body that can kill more animals and bring home for food, right? The body that can lift more weight, the body that can beat the shit out of you, right? It was considered to be strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we as human species we already evolved from that. So we need to redefine strengths, and I think these are the remainders of that old distorted perception of strength. You know, when you don't cry, when you never cry, that was perceived as okay, I am invincible. You know, I am stronger than that. I'm stronger than pain. I'm stronger than anger.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that energy, what you're gonna do? Suppress energy. Because energy cannot be created and it does not disappear. You suppress it within yourself for a day, for a week, for a month, for a year. Then you lash out on people that are around you in your family. Because that energy needs to be liberated in any way. Because you suppress so much of it, and then just a little spark will make you yell at a person whom you love the most. Or you go and create the war. You fight, you kill someone. You yell at your children because you think they're doing something wrong.
And that they can fight back.
Yeah, because you perceive them as smaller body, which means they can't fight back, even on a physical level. And you see they depend on you. You feed them, you provide home for them. So they are helpless in a way, right? And they can be the basically the receiver of your anger, right? And then kids are being grown up in that energy, in that language that you use, emotional language with them, because they will repeat who you are. So when they grow up and you get old, they'll talk to you like that. Yes. So anger has been traveling from generation to generation, and that's because a lot of pain has been suppressed. That's why a lot of wars have been happening, right? Because you can't really make a loving person who is full of love to take the gun and go kill someone. You have to have so much aggression within yourself and anger, which is basically hiding the deepest unconscious pain. Anger is hiding the deepest unconscious pain, the pain that hasn't been felt for years.
Mhm. And what about women hiding tears?
Mhm.
It's the same. It doesn't convert to anger. I think, at least it's in me, it didn't.
Well, yeah, so women internalize all this and it converts into guilt, right? The pain that they hide, they being taught to cope with everything, handle everything. Angry husband, you still love him. Yelling husband, you love him. Hungry husband, you love him. Husband that wants sex all the time, you give it to him. And women have been basically shaped into this being who has to handle everything quietly.
Yeah, we talked about it today, about that women, that it's so um, women are so used to suppressing themselves, to shaping themselves to fit the husband or the man. It's like they lose their truth, their authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
just to be married, just to have this like social
For children.
status. Yeah, to have all the checks, society checks.
But even like these perceptions that, oh, if I get divorced, it's gonna traumatize my children. This is nonsense.
Yeah, and so many people
You're traumatizing
live.
yourself first and foremost.
Yeah,
And a traumatized mother traumatizes her children.
yeah. And as if children don't feel the energy
They
at
do.
home.
They do.
Yes.
Exactly. They do. Yeah, so I think women have been out of touch with their authenticity for centuries just because of suppressing their true feelings, right? So they actually forgot what it means to feel their emotion truly and, without suppressing it, without hiding it behind this loving face. Women has to be always loving and handling and accepting the way her husband is, right?
Mhm.
So they usually hide behind a mask of fake love, which is not love, right? Or they are just suppressing their quietly carrying all that, and then they have different diseases, yeah, like breast cancer or other types of cancer on female organs, right? That's a lot of suppressed feminine energy that is all about feeling, right? Feeling the truth, speaking your truth as well, sharing and expressing your truth and being firm with your truth, authentic truth, right? So I can give a tip to women who think that they have to stay in a marriage that they don't enjoy, to handle the husband who's angry with them, to it doesn't mean you have to be angry with the husband who is angry with you. You see, you have to teach your husband how you want to be treated. You see, well, but usually it's because women don't treat themselves well. They don't feel worthy. That's why they let others to treat them that way, right? Otherwise, if they felt worthy and they know that all they have for her husband is love, he's not capable to receive it, right? Then you should share, honey, all I have for you is love, even when you are angry right now. I want you to know all I have for you is love, but you can't treat me like that. I'm just saying. And usually I would give maybe like 3 warnings and say, I have a rule. This is the user's manual,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Read it. It's rule number 1. You can't swear at me. I don't swear at you. I don't call you words. I don't physically abuse you, right? And I'm loving with you. I take responsibility for my feelings. So I let myself feel my feelings. So I want you to feel your feelings, but never blame me for the way you feel. Because I will never blame you for the way I feel.
Mhm.
Okay? 3 basic rules. No physical abuse. no swearing at each other, and take responsibility for your own feelings. And, get out of your room, get out of the house when you are angry. Say, I am angry right now, I need to remove myself, I'll come back. When I am in a process, I have processed and felt this emotion, this is what's happening, something pushed my button, not saying it's your fault, but these are the rules, right? And, he breaks the rule once, he breaks the rule second time, third time. And then you say, I'm sorry, I have let you know these are the rules for you to stay in my energy field. Apparently, it's not working for you, and that's okay. I have to leave you. But what happens is that a lot of women don't have the courage to leave.
Guts. Yeah.
They don't have the guts to leave because they are addicted to that dynamics themselves. You see? That energy and that emotions. They are addicted to those emotions themselves. And now they use their husband to reaffirm the reason for that addiction. And that's what happens. Couples are blaming each other for things and not taking responsibility for the way they feel and passing it on to children. And we are where we are as human civilization, killing each other in wars, being so far away from authenticity, authentic feelings, and taking responsibility for our own feelings, learning how they are created, what creates these feelings, the nature of human body, of human mind. you know just be curious to know where your anger is coming from. It's your anger. How come when your stomach is sick, you take a pill inside of you? You're not give When your stomach is sick, you're not giving a pill to your husband.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How come when you are angry, you're telling that it's your husband's fault?
Yeah. And I think a lot of women who are unhappily married are also afraid that they won't make it on their own, or all this like material stuff that holds in the marriage. And it actually all comes to self-worth. uh,
Yes. And self-worth is the way you perceive yourself. Are you perceiving yourself as worthy enough to have the life you're dreaming of? Or you feel like you're not good enough? If you feel like you're not good enough, then yeah, you're gonna stay in abusive relationship. Don't blame anyone. So first you need to really learn who you are, you know, and find something within that will make you feel worthy within yourself, something unique about you, your individuality out of all these 8 billion people. Each soul has a unique toolbox of talents and skills. Have you found something that helps you shine?
mhm.
If not, keep digging. And if you're experiencing a lot of these low frequency feelings, that is just a sign that you have been taken away so far from your original design, aka your authentic self.
Mhm. Что-то честно.
But how I think I have a question to you. How does it feel when you finally have the power? And why before you didn't have that power to make decisions for changes in your life?
Yeah. Oh, first of all, it feels fantastic. Very free, liberated. Like I can do whatever I want to do and express myself however I want to express. And it's actually interesting that I got divorced when I moved to the US, and I because the war started and there were so many changes in all spheres, like professional. uh, I changed countries. And the divorce then felt not that hard, because I think like all my worlds just collapsed and it was just, well, some other parts. Then if it would be peaceful in Ukraine, probably I still wouldn't feel brave enough to do that, because uh, it's not like I didn't have physical abuse, or like it wasn't that bad, like very bad, when you can't actually stay in a marriage. From the outside, everything seemed perfect, and even my ex-husband thought that everything was perfect. So, mm, but it wasn't apparently. Yeah.
So what was not perfect for you?
I couldn't express feelings. Like we didn't have this authentic dialogue as like we used to have in the beginning. Again, because as you told, the person is responsible for their emotions themselves, and I always felt guilty for even expressing that something is not comfortable for me, because I always was blamed that it's my fault, that like it's me who needs to change. And with time,
in a way, it's actually truth, right? We are the ones that need to change, but that means that people who are around us might not keep up with our changes.
that's what happens. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's really funny.
So you started changing drastically.
Yes, yes, and that was also bad. Turned out to be like not for me, but he was surprised. Um, yeah.
He's an amazing guy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course we had a lot of happy moments for all those 15 years.
And I was at your wedding.
Yes, yes.
And I wish, I met and I found out about, because on the surface you showed up as a perfect couple. And then when my awakening happened in 2020, and I came to visit you guys in Ukraine, and I was sharing this story, and you were listening, and your ex-husband was like, "Yeah, like this is nonsense. This is like," he was very skeptical about the experience, and well, for me, it didn't really matter. For me, it didn't matter, but it was interesting to see that at that time you had the curiosity, and he was in denial of my experience. um, yeah, so it would be interesting to see how things would unfold if I had a bigger impact on him, because I lived in Canada and you lived in Ukraine. We didn't really talk that much, right? We didn't keep in touch since your wedding. Um, yeah, but when I look at couples that I am in touch with, of both, female and male in the couple, they stay together. I kind of like, I'm a unifying component for them. Both of, like, there are a few couples that they both invite me for dinners, and we hang out together. Like, I always, when I see you, it's both of them, and I see how they blossom together.
Yeah, I think that's actually the reason, because you offered, and I've offered your coaching when we were still uh, trying to make it work, but he wasn't interested in it. And I think that now, when I've done so much inner work and working with my emotions and understanding where did it come from, fears and everything, I just can't be with a man who is totally unconscious of his reactions.
His own states of being, right?
Yes. So until uh, it's, I mean, it's not about only about my ex-husband, like,
but even for future
in general,
relationships,
yes.
if you ever want to be in a relationship, for you it's a benchmark. I mean, you won't settle for someone who is just good looking and rich, you know. I mean, it's a very fair statement, because when evolution happens in one of the partners in a connection, it's either the second partner is catching up and gets curious and say, oh, that's so interesting, can you share? You know, and a woman becomes like a spiritual leader in a relationship, and a man is a leader in a physical material world, where he makes sure that their family is safe and provided with everything that's needed, you know, for material physical world, right? So I think there are two types of leaderships in a connection, and we as women, because we're supposed to be more in tune and more in touch with the spiritual dimension, or the dimension of feeling and um, you know, intuition and ability to see the world beyond shapes and forms, you know, see the world as an energy vibration. And in a human being, this energy vibration is expressed through different emotions that we feel, and heartbeats we experience, and chemistry we're releasing when we feel those emotions. So we as women, you know, some people say we are more emotional. Hell yeah, of course. And this is the beauty, because we are in touch with our authentic feelings, right? Supposed to be, right? Yeah, and if you are conscious of your own feelings, then you're gonna learn where your own feelings are coming from, and that's what gonna help you to be more compassionate with your husband and help him on his journey to tune in to his heart and feel his feelings too, right? So that's evolution that happens on a spiritual level. And if that happens in one of the partners, and the second one is so far from experiencing something deeper than the world of material shapes and forms, there will be gap, right? And it's not anybody's fault. The thing is, it's gonna be really hard to stay in that connection, that relationship, because the actual connection is lost. You can be just roommates. You can live in the same place, and the feeling will be like a torture, you know. Yeah.
You can feel more lonely being in a relationship than being on your own.
Yes, and a lot of couples really experience that these days, really. But they don't have the guts to pull the trigger and uh, start understanding the core reason why, the cause, because this is an effect, right? The effect that, okay, connection is lost, like, okay, let's stick together because we have children. Amazing decision.
Yeah,
Let's
and
keep traumatizing our children, you know, not healing our own pain, not feeling our own pain, hiding it, right? Children pick it up anyways, you know, the frequency, because they don't have the analytical mind. So let's lash out on children. Let's yell at them for little things, you know. Let's control them like robots. Let's make sure they are not in touch with their own authenticity, you know.
don't cry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't cry because this is annoying. You don't have a reason to cry, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, so I mean, we are passing on that masks, that energy of unauthenticity, that energy that hides true feelings to our children, staying in a connection, in a relationship like that, that lost connection, right? Instead of explaining, hey, there is nothing wrong. Life is a journey. You know, if you tune into your heart will tell you where you need to be. There is nothing wrong with your feelings. You need to feel them, and then you need to understand where they are coming from. You need to remove yourself from existing environment, do some inner work, clarify things, come back as a new being, see if you inspire people in your relationship, right? See if your husband gets inspired by your new self. You share with him and say, honey, this is what I found out about myself. Would you like to try out meditation? Would you like to dive within? This is so cool. And he's like, this is bullshit.
You changed, something happened to you, go back to that old version of you,
Yes.
which didn't have so many desires. So yeah.
So, but I mean, I believe in miracles, and the projections that I have on every couple that I work with is that they both will be evolving simultaneously in parallel, so that there is no gap, right, between them and their evolution in terms of connecting with their heart, with their truth within. And my projections that I have on both men and female in a relationship is that both of them blossom together in one connection, and um, that would be the divine connection and the flow of love. The union between masculine and feminine, beautiful, right? If both are evolving in parallel, and they use this relationship as a tool for their evolution, so that next time when they are triggered, like, babe, I am very angry right now, I'm gonna remove myself. I need to see where this anger is coming from, and I'll come back. And the wife is really understanding and say, yes, absolutely, take some space and time. Because when I feel the same, I will do exactly the same. I'm going to remove myself and take my space and time and come back when I reconcile that suppressed pain within myself.
Yeah, I think it's always of more likely that someone will begin their inner journey faster, and then it's the question if the other one would join or just reject it, and more likely than that it would be the woman who would be, as you're telling, the spiritual leader in a relationship, and then if a man follows her
Amazing.
or not.
Oh, it will, yeah, if he follows spiritually, this more like seeing her as a divine manifestation of authenticity and love. When he knows that all she has for him is love, and she is a safe space to express your authentic feelings. Oh, that is very deep connection. When a man feels safe to be who he is in her presence, right? And you are a wise enough woman to provide that safety for him, to be vulnerable, to feel the pain, to cry if he feels like, right? I think if a man evolves to that point and he sees his woman as a safe space to be who he feels, I think that will be a very powerful connection.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, in a nutshell, I mean, nobody can avoid evolution on a spiritual level. I mean, especially now with so much pain that people are experiencing, and it's been suppressed for years and years. The only way to reconcile that is inner work. And that's why I am busy, because I've helped people to transform low frequency feelings into higher frequency feel, at least to the point of zero where they become aware of that exists in them, right? The first step is that they just become aware that their anger is there, that their pain is there, their guilt is there, their shame is there, and then they track down where it's coming from, go back into the past. When was the first time they felt it? When was the first time when they experienced that frequency that took them further away from their original design, their mother's womb design? When they were in their mother's womb, they didn't have stories. They didn't have guilt, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was just pure being. So when was the first time they experienced this emotion that altered who they are, right? And then it became normal. But in reality, it's not normal. You
Mm-hmm.
know, normal is the transformation. When you learn to transform this into something else based on the change in the narrative that you tell yourself, and that narrative can only be changed when you take responsibility for your feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how great it is to not have this guilt or shame or fear or like other low frequency feelings when you can just do what you want to do, not thinking what someone will think. It's amazing.
Well, I think it's also amazing when we feel shame and guilt and we let ourselves experience it. And we experience the chemistry in our body when we feel that emotion. What's happening on all levels within us? Can we sit with our fear for 15 minutes? Can we sit with our anger without doing anything, without blaming anyone? Can we actually sit with that story, with that feeling for 15 minutes and just experience it? Finally, can we do that? Super healing practice.
And by the way, one more thing that I wanted to ask you, how to deal with it. For example, when you lose a person, like they go out of their body, they die, and often people also don't let themselves feel all this pain, being strong for
Yes.
the family, right? Not to so that their children don't see it and all this stuff. Uh, so how long is it? But on the other side, if they feel this pain and they feel it for years, sometimes they are in depression for years. That's also not right. So where is this? Uh, to what point it's okay to feel the pain and uh, how to release it so that you don't feel it for so such a long time.
Well, I think it's important to understand that when you truly feel your pain, you'll get the answer where it's coming from. That's because they still explain the reason for their pain in the past. Somebody's passing away. Where is that reason externally?
Mm-hmm.
So they are blaming an external circumstance for the way they feel for years. I'm talking about taking responsibility for manufacturing this feeling. So I'm curious to know where this pain is coming from. And fundamentally, it's coming from your own resistance to your own mortality.
Mm-hmm.
So once you understand that, oh man, I'm also mortal, how can I be in depression for years? Like this body, I'll have to drop it right now. I've been dwelling in this depression for years. I want to do something about it. Can I feel something else? I'm curious now. I'm finally, instead of being a victim of somebody passing away, instead of victimizing myself and saying, oh, yes, this is the reason I'm grieving for 15 years, this story has to change, you know? So when I say you need to sit with your pain for 15 minutes, you actually have to understand where is that reason within yourself that making you feel that way. That stories that you produce. Because if your story is that the reason for your pain is outside of you, then you're a victim. You will be years and years in that feeling. But if you really take responsibility for manufacturing that feeling based on your unawareness of who you are, right? Based on your unconsciousness that your body is mortal and you also have as a human being in this body, you have a limited time on this earth to walk,
To experience life.
to experience life. and you sit for 15 years and you're crying because somebody chose to drop their body, needed to drop their body because it wasn't efficient. You name it, they're on their journey, right? Everybody is on their journey, and you are as well. Are you ready to change the narrative and turn inward? And instead of going to a doctor and say, hey, I'm depressed, because you are reaffirming now that, yes, I am depressed. That's who I am. Now, depression defines your new identity. So now you are playing an identity of a depressed person who needs to take antidepressants because the loved one passed away or dropped their body 10 years ago. So you're just playing a character of a depressed person.
And still resistant to the way things are.
Yeah, you are basically resisting something you can't change. You can't change the fact that that being chose to be disembodied and drops their body. Can you change it? Ask yourself, can you actually change that fact? No. So I'm actually getting curious to know what I am here for. What is this whole thing about? Like this being reminded you, buddy, about your own mortality. Because you don't know the answer, what mortality, you're not in touch with your mortality, that's why you are depressed. You will stop being depressed as soon as you know that death is a dimension of life, it's a transition into a different dimension. It's a part of life. Okay? And you're suffering your own unawareness, basically. You're not suffering that somebody passed away 10 years ago. You're suffering your own unawareness. So that's why it's important when a loved one chooses to drop their body. I'm gonna call it that way. We just drop our bodies. If that being chose to drop their bodies for whatever reason, you have the right to feel the grief for a couple weeks. And by feeling the grief, I'm saying you actually spend time alone in solitude and silence, and you get in touch with your own mortality. Who am I? What I'm here for? And where I'm gonna go when I drop this physical vessel. Ask these three questions when you lose the loved one, and until you find the answer, don't go back into your social life, into your busy work days, into your chasing money mentality. You understand what I mean? Could you really do your work? Yeah. You don't stand up until you find out that answer. Wow, thank you. Thank you, my relative, for reminding me about mortality. That thing that now I see it exists. I'll have to drop my body at some point too. While I'm here, what the purpose? What am I here for? What is this whole thing called life about? Find that out. I guarantee you won't be depressed when you find the answers to those three questions.
Yeah, thank you. I think we've covered here a lot. Yeah, and I think our audience will now see the beauty of pain and tears and expressing their emotions freely.
The beauty of death, of life,
Yeah.
mortality.
I liked how you told today earlier that people are so afraid of their death as if they have died.
Yeah.
Like they don't know what happens after death, how it feels to die. So maybe it's not that.
Because
scary.
they are so unaware that life is their creation. That's why they think that, the experience of exiting the body is also their creation. But they are not aware of how that process happens, right? They're not in touch with that part of them that makes this whole thing happen, right? And that's why they're afraid of something they are not aware of. That's the reason, right? So I think that the death of a loved one is actually a reminder for us to dive deeper within ourselves, because deep within, all of us already knows the answer, but we get so oblivious to that truth. We get so blinded right now with all this external, material, external, physical, that the most important things are being missed by majority of people. That's why they're so scared of dying. And that's why, it's all about survival at all costs. Putting the body on a ventilator, or like when the body is already,
Not
being,
enjoying life.
yes, it's just all about survival at all costs. I am for life with all its beauty, with all its vibrancy, with all its ups and downs. If you are in a hospital for months on a ventilator, or you take a million pills, I'm asking you, where is the vibrancy of life?
Mhm.
Just because as if scared of death and scared of transition, and which is coming fundamentally from unawareness of the deepest truth. That's what happens right now with the medical system, with loved ones who want to save their life, loved ones without surrendering, and just being there for them when they are there, without fixing the fact that they are sick, that they are going through things through their journey. Can you meet them where they are without fixing it with
Yeah.
a million pills, and just being there, hearing their story while they are still there, right? Not convincing them everything will be all right. No, man, it doesn't work like
Mm.
that. You just listen. When you tell them that everything will be all right, you are not meeting where they are. They don't feel being heard. You see, you're not fixing anything, telling them, yeah, you're gonna recover, you're gonna be great. You just hold their hand and freaking listen to their story with a loving heart and full acceptance. Instead of, because you are freaking scared of death, you project that fear on them. Everything will be okay, everything will be. The body knows the truth.
Mhm.
Deep stuff. But to live fully, we need to learn to die every moment. I die every moment. And that's so exciting.
Yeah, you mean to let go of your identity, one of your identities, attachments, people.
Everything.
Yeah.
Literally everything and everybody, right? Because what is death? It's going back to zero, to nothing. Um, and if you are not in touch with that nothingness within you when you are in your body, that's scary, right? Because then it means you are attached to something that you are not. Um, and the attachment to something that you are not means you will be forced to drop it, right? If you're very identified with that and you think that's you, that's all you know. If you only experience life on a level of body, on a level of mind, on a level of memory with those faces, right? On the level of emotion, human emotion, right? It's, if you're identified with all those things and processes, and you're going back to zero, then it's scary for people because they haven't experienced that zero when they were still in the body. But it's there, that experiencer, that watcher, the observer. That's why I do zero dimension meditation with people, to help them connect with that zero dimension before they exit, so that death doesn't seem that scary, right?
Mhm.
Because if you really cope with your fear of death and fear of pain, you're free. Fundamentally, all the reason for suffering and for pain in the world is coming from the fear of death, right? And I think we as human beings, we have a very powerful tool called mind that is also capable to help us connect with the present moment, and the ability to contemplate and ask yourself, have you ever died? Do you have a memory actually of dying, right? If you have a memory of dying, then apparently it's not the end. Understand what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
If you remember dying and you are still here, then death doesn't exist.
But most people don't remember and don't know even how to remember.
So then they are afraid of the story they tell to themselves about that transition. You understand? And as soon as they tell that story about that transition, that horrible movie they play in their mind, they automatically produce the chemicals in their body
That
that
leads
to death.
Yes.
They are actually inviting death to happen so that they could at least see the truth. That they don't die, you know? There is actually a joke that some people say, and then I had an out of body experience and I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. And it turned out to be me crawling out of my mother's vagina. That was the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean, look at nature. Nature is reminding us it's all existential circle.
Mm-hmm.
4 seasons, the trees, the leaves are falling down, the new leaves show up in the spring. The water goes in circle, vapor, clouds, falling, the rain, ocean, soaked in the earth, for the like.
They don't
then
hold on to being
no,
just.
like everything is just flowing,
Yeah.
man. Like, what's your big deal about holding on to this human shape? I mean, it's a beautiful vessel. Enjoy it, take care of it. But if you sit and being afraid and resisting death, I mean, you're not caring for your vessel. You're killing your vessel right now. Being afraid of death, you are literally killing your physical body.
By the frequency of fear.
Yes, because every frequency, every state of being that you're experiencing is makes your heart beat in a certain way, with certain frequency, and makes your body release the chemistry that is in resonance with that feeling, right? So when you are in fear, everybody knows about adrenaline, the stress hormone cortisol. And by the way, the cortisol hormone, it actually, um, you know, goes through your skin and it goes into atmosphere. So people around you, you get them basically passing on this hormone on them. If they don't have analytical minds that creates their own bubble, it's an infectious frequency. Everybody will be stressed around you. That's why stressed business owners and business leaders, if they come into a business meeting and they are stressed, everybody in that room will be stressed. Everybody. Because everybody's looking up to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is listening to what he is telling, which means they are receiving what he's passing on all levels, right? So, and people are just unaware how they are killing their bodies, just being afraid of death.
Yes.
So they are they're inviting that experience to happen for them sooner. Ridiculous.
Yeah, such a paradox.
It's a paradox, but that's the truth. Instead of really paying attention to nature, which is a reflection of existential laws, right? Um, diving within and really work with the powerful tool called human memory and human imagination and mind and the present moment. Just look at that right now. You are sitting, everything is happening for you. You have food in your fridge, you have the ceiling above your head, you have a place to sleep, and you think about death. What is death? So it's just your thought. Can you objectify your thought? Can you just watch your thought and translate it into energy? Okay, what I'm feeling fear. What is fear? Let me actually feel it. I'm finally curious. What is fear? Okay, my heart beats this way. This is what I feel in my body. I'm thinking about death, and I have never died. So this is my illusion. I've never died. I saw dead bodies, right? Where is that energy that was animating that biology? Death is a complete stillness. So we need to learn to reconnect with stillness while we are still here. You see? Because death is a complete stillness, including the heartbeat and the lungs, right? That's a complete stillness. But where is that memory bank, that energy, the frequency that made the vibration possible in the body? That's your job while you're here. It's your job to figure out about that what animates your biology. Can you connect with that vibration? Can you connect with that being who is animating your biology and makes your heart beat? If you're not in touch, you don't know the answers why you're here for and where you come from and what happens when you drop your body,
Then you're afraid
then
of
you'll repeat the same thing, the same fear until you find the answer.
and then forget.
Well, finally, I'm gonna be expressing the truth, my truth. Finally, now I'm very firm with my own experience. I will never die. My body, at some point, will wear itself out when it runs its cycle, right? My body will. I will never die. And I'll drop this body when it's no longer able to sustain life. I'll gracefully do that. Just like yesterday, we were listening to a podcast. The Aboriginal people, they had a tradition to be so in touch with their being, with their original design, with nature, with knowing the truth, and they were so in touch with their body when their body is giving them the impression that, okay, so I sounds like I weared myself out, you know. So they woke up in the morning, they said bye to everyone. They went into the forest, found their favorite tree, hugged the tree, released the body, dropped it, and left back to the source. Because they were connected with the source. They were connected with that energy that created worlds. That's why they didn't have fear of that. So everybody, while we are still in this physical form, we need to figure that out for ourselves. What is that experience? And if we are scared of it, then we'll keep repeating the same cycle and the same emotions until we figure that out.
Thank you, Mira, for sharing. I hope now
What a fun podcast about death. Oh my God. I love talking about death. Especially like I know it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think it's our audience got really curious how to know
zero dimension meditation, guys.
Yeah.
Experience existence beyond the body and beyond the mind. That's it.
And in our previous videos, in the previous video, actually, we talked about your methodology and tools that you use working with people, and that zero dimension meditation is one of them, and we talked more about that, so you can watch that video to learn more. Yeah, and we'll be happy to see you at our retreat in the beginning of August in Hawaii, and you can also learn more about our next retreats.
India.
India.
I'm taking people to Rishikesh, which is the capital of yoga and meditation, capital of the world. And then straight from Rishikesh, we're taking a train and going to the death city.
Wow! I'm so excited.
Called Varanasi or Kashi, right? Very amazing place where they have these fires burning 24/7 and they burn the human bodies.
For how long?
Oh, since the days of Shiva. That fire has been burning there since Shiva's time, right? They're Hindu god, right? And when you witness that, you really feel the truth. You really know that I am not my body and the body will be burning. Oh my God, I have to live. I want to live. I want to live fully. I don't have time to postpone what I want to feel and experience. If I hate my job, I quit my job because I'm here to live.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm taking a group of people to Varanasi as well, and we'll take them to this burning guts. It's called the burning guts on River Ganges, and very profound experience. I was there myself a few months ago, right? And I just feel like you can really get enlightened there. Not in the temple full of people, not going, to even sometimes meditation caves are not as efficient. Just watch burning bodies.
Sounds so much fun. Yeah.
And then after India, I'll take people to Maldives to connect with nature, early December. And then after Maldives, there will be a retreat in Bali as well.
Yeah. So you can read more about them in the text box below. I will leave the links. And also follow us on other social platforms that are Instagram, Telegram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. We would be happy to see you there. And see you in the next videos. Bye.
See you all. Much love.